Hello. In a modest community, obscure aggressors obliterate whole groups of pilgrims. Secretive pits are left at the location of the crimes, and local people are stunned when they find out where this whirlwind in the ground leads. Today we will recap the narrative of the 2008 film The Burrowers. Irish settler pioneer Fergus falls head over heels during his movements with Marv Sparkles, an occupant of one of the settlements. Around evening time, inconvenience comes to her loved ones. Obscure aggressors assault her town, and the dad advises his significant other and for youngsters to pausing their breathing. The family hears gunfire from a higher place. The hints of battling are before long supplanted by frantic shouts. The unnerved family sees something slithering across the flooring planks above. They freeze, trusting they won't be found. However, something barges in and assaults individuals and stowing away. The following day, Fergus shows up at his adored's home, however sees as nobody there. He goes into the place of their neighbors, the Williams, and tracks down their bodies inside. Fergus doesn't surrender any expectation of tracking down the Stewart family, for they might have become detainees of the aggressor Indians. The outsider chooses to shape a crew of workers to look for the missing individuals. William Parcher is eating in the lawn of the house with his better half and her young child, Dobie. Seeing a horseman somewhere far off, the cattle rustler advises the kid to bring his mom into the house, for the gatecrusher might be a foe. The horseman ends up being Fergus, who conveys a message from the lead representative. He says that the Indians have obliterated the Williams family and hijacked the Stewart family. William plans to join a crew of workers. Dobie's mom demands that her child additionally go on the hunt. She is sure that this excursion will assist him with turning into a genuine man. Looking at the scene, William sees profound cuts on the casualties' necks. He is amazed that the young ladies have overflowed excessively minimal red liquid from such injuries. He is likewise confused concerning what might have caused such wounds. Dobie sees the shotgun in the hand of the dead Mr. Williams. William is certain that the dad of the family planned to polish off the ladies himself so they wouldn't be caught by the Indians. In the meantime, Fergus tracks down an odd opening in the yard. Volunteers from all the farms in the area accumulate at the settlement. Overseer John Earth, Freedman Pecan, and an Indian who has favored the whites. A self-important official, Henry Victor, alongside the mounted force, assumes control over the soldiers. He is persuaded that the possibilities saving the Stewart family are insignificant. The gathering of valiant men cover the Williams family and set out toward the Indian terrains. John Clay is certain they won't track down the missing family on serene Indian terrains. Yet, without Henry Victor's men, they can't deal with Utah's unfriendly clan. Out of nowhere, Williams' pony stalls out in the newly dug ground and falls over. After a short delay, the explorers ride on, not seeing that somebody's body is covered in the ground. Henry Victor recognizes a youthful Indian from the booking ahead and shoots his pony to hold him back from moving far away. His men mount a manhunt on the chap and at last find him. William pleasantly questions the detainee and shows him an image of the missing Stewart family, the Indian remaining parts quiet. However, Henry Victor in no way wants to tolerate it. Over the course of the evening, his men savagely torment the detainee, sitting tight for him to give him the data he wants. Different workers are shocked by the official's remorselessness and oppose his techniques. Notwithstanding, Henry Victor enjoys insulting the Indians and gloats to the gathered a piece of one of them. Youthful Dobie takes a gander at the man with deference and concedes that his dad was killed in a fight with the Indians. Fergus and Pecan rapidly figure out something worth agreeing on and share stories from their lives. Pecan works for Henry as a cook, however is allowed to leave him whenever. Fergus came to the Dakotas just after New York since he was unable to find any place due to his nationality. He emigrated with his sister, yet she kicked the bucket on the way from tuberculosis. The main thing left of her memory is a clasp, which the fellow provided for Marian when he proposed to her. The detainee is at last let be, and Pecan chooses to prudently bring him food. An infuriated Henry Victor sees this and is going to rebuff his cook, yet Fergus assumes responsibility. Struggle emerges between the men, yet William figures out how to quiet the official. For the evening, Henry leaves a watch of 3 men who should watch what's going on and shoot any individual who moves toward their camp. One of the guards sees a dubious development in the field and goes to scout. He tracks down his confidant's dormant body in the shrubs close to a jug of alcohol and concludes that he is essentially hammered. The following second in any case, the official is gone after by an obscure animal. In the first part of the day, Fergus awakens to Henry Victor swearing. During the evening, 4 of his men are absent from the camp. The men question the hostage Indian, and he is really glad that the white men have turned into a number 1 of the burrowers. He doesn't make sense of what their identity is, yet guarantees the collected men that they will track down every one of them themselves. The Indian translator from Henry's group starts investigating the detainee once more, yet is calmed by William. Along these lines, the pressure between the workers arrives at its pinnacle. Dobie sees a few openings in the ground close to the camp, similar ones they saw before close to the Stewart settlement. Williams, Dobie, Fergus, and John choose to isolate from Henry Victor's group and quest for the missing all alone. Around evening time, the explorers stop for a rest and examine their next strategy. Neither of them has known about the Burrower clan previously thus far. They have no leads. John is quick to join the night watch. Hearing a dubious commotion, he almost shoots Pecan, who has chosen to escape from Henry Victor and join John Mid's group. In the first part of the day, the gathering set off further to investigate the region looking for hints. En route, they coincidentally find new openings again and again. Before long, they track down a vacant cart in the street, and this find brings up much more issues for them. Every one of the resources are left in the cart. However, the pony and riders have vanished suddenly. It doesn't seem to be a conventional burglary. The group stops for a brief break to slow down and rest. Dobby and Pecan toss stones into the closest tree to entertain themselves. The kid chooses to stroll around searching for additional stones. However, rather finds a bunch of fair hair standing out of the ground. Every other person hurries to a scared cry. In the wake of shaking off the earth, they find the body of a young lady with her eyes open. Her students expand from the splendid light. She can see and hear individuals before her. The explorers notice a profound injury on her neck, from which white air pockets rise. Abruptly, they hear something scratching inside her shoe. They take off the young lady's shoe and are stunned to observe that she is moving her toes. The stunned men can't comprehend the reason why the Indians covered her alive. Fergus fears that a similar destiny has come to pass for his lady. In the first part of the day, the group advises Dobby to take the young lady to the closest settlement for assessment. William attempts persistently to satisfy his darling's child and says he wouldn't confide in this mission to any other person. Fergus tries and fails to shut the unfortunate young lady's eyes. At last, he covers her face with a cap. The excess explorers proceed with their quest for the Stewart family and dive deep into the forest. It is alarmingly calm around them. They notice development among the trees and understand that they have been spotted by Indians. One of them lifts his hand up in hello and Fergus shoots him, erroneously thinking he will assault. John furiously pushes the worker off his pony and is kicked by Pecan's pony. The Indian conveys a message to his tribesmen and John understands that his group is currently at serious risk. In the meantime, Dobby and the deadened young lady stop for a break. The kid cautiously lays her on the ground close to him and kisses her on the lips. She starts to squirm her fingers once more, and the kid is frightened to understand that the young lady is as yet conscious. As they clear their path through the forest, William and John talk about how they will dispose of Fergus' organization. The Indian who was scared away by the Irishmen might have known something about the Stewart family. In spite of his error, Fergus doesn't surrender trust that his darling is as yet. He demands proceeding with his inquiry. His slip-up, in any case, doesn't be tolerated. Threatening Indians encompass the group and shoot John in the neck. Pecan's pony turns into the following casualty and he pounds his rider with it. William and Fergus take shots back at their assailants. However, they deftly move among the trees. The Irishman pulls Pecan from under his pony and the leftover voyagers take cover behind the creature. Around evening time, Dobby can't rest and ponders the still young lady close to him. Out of nowhere, a dim animal assaults him, leaving a profound cut on his neck. It spits a bizarre fluid on the new injury, after which white air pockets show up on it. The kid is promptly deadened and quietly looks as the beast hauls him behind it, in an obscure heading. At the point when it stops, it starts to cover Dobby alive in the ground. Like the young lady, he proceeds to inhale and frantically attempts to move a finger on his hand. The three voyagers keep on taking cover behind the pony, dreading one more assault by the enraged Indians. William sees some sumac shrubs around and advises his allies to accumulate more plants and afterwards set them ablaze. Pecan lets them know that the smoke from the plants is toxic and can truly hurt the Indians. In any case, the group is left with no other decision. They should split away from their followers and proceed with their quest for the Stewarts. Fergus makes a natively constructed cross to check where John kicked the bucket. William advises them to leave this endeavor, for that way the Indians can track down the white man's cadaver and misuse it. The depleted men proceed with their excursion through unfamiliar territory. Around evening time by the open-air fire, William again considers his fallen friend with misery. Fergus is worried about the severity of the Indians and inquires as to whether white men have at any point figured out how to save ladies from Indian imprisonment. Sadly, William can't let the Irishman's imagination run out of control. As a general rule, the prisoners were seen as currently dead. Just once did a lady figure out how to get away from imprisonment alive, yet on her return she went frantic. William is quick to join the night watch. Awakening to abnormal sounds, Fergus finds that his confidants are absent. The sounds develop nearer and the man gets his weapon in dread, prepared to discharge without warning. Pecan, who had been out searching for William, gets back to the open-air fire. The psychics notice that the blazes of the fire sparkle more brilliant than expected. They conclude that Parcher is intentionally involving them as snare to draw in the Indians who seized the Stewarts. Someplace close by, William screams and the sound of shots are heard. The men track down their terrified individual on the ground, where he is frantically attempting to fend somebody off. Pointing a light at the ground, they spot revolting dim animals with colossal mouths and endless teeth. Pecan takes shots at them, however they figure out how to conceal underground. William shows his confidants the cut on his neck that the animals granted him with. Steadily, the man loses sensation in his appendages. The man is persuaded that it was every one of the Indian stunt. The explorers are compelled to keep driving around midnight so as not to turn into a dinner for the beasts. William requests that Fergus give Dobby's mom the cross in the event that he neglects to endure the excursion. The threesome notification a fire ahead and move warily toward it. Close to the fire, they meet a local American young lady and tell her they come in harmony. The young lady promptly sees a cut on Parcher's neck and lets him know that the brewers will return for him. The man intentionally mistranslates the more bizarre's words for his confidence with the goal that they won't dispose of him in view of the looming peril. The young lady uncovers that the brewers have obliterated her loved ones. She needed to shoot her better half with similar injury on his neck so he wouldn't disappear in distress. She recounts to the Voyagers the narrative of the brewers. They are the genuine locals of this area and have lived here well before the principal Indians. They used to chase bison to fulfill their yearning. Subsequent to harming their prey, they covered it so it would break down. Utilizing poison, they covered their casualties alive. At the point when the blood of their casualties thickens and their organs become delicate, the critters return and gobble up them. The principal pilgrims eradicated all the buffalo, so the brewers changed to people. The Utah clan has previously battled the critters, yet they won't assist with whiting individuals. The young lady is certain that William will before long bite the dust due to the brewer's toxic substance. However, he keeps this data from his companions. They kidnap the Indian young lady and head off looking for the Utah clan to track down an elixir for the beast's toxic substance. En route, William starts chuckling insanely. Pecan questions that they ought to put their lives in danger to save a mobile dead man. Yet, Fergus seeks after his objective. He actually trusts the Utah clan will assist him with tracking down Marianne. The Indian notification that William's injury is covered with a ration. Presently, it will be simpler for the brewers to track down him. Parcher advises the group to stop close to a flagpole to allow the Indians an opportunity to track down them. The hostage lady fights and says that they should not set up camp or they will be generally killed by the brewers. William again intentionally neglects to interpret her words. Fergus awakens around midnight due to bad dreams. By then, William is totally incapacitated and experiences difficulty talking. He figures out how to caution the Irishmen that the brewers are drawing closer and the Voyagers start to take shots back at them. Because of unfortunate coordination, Parcher coincidentally wounds Pecan in the leg. The Indian frantically attempts to pass on to Fergus and Pecan that they need to continue to move and not stop. William's destiny is now fixed and they should abandon him. The explorers understand that Parcher is concealing something from them and never again mean to endure his control. William attempts to stop them with a shot, however he runs out of ammo. He asks his confidants to remain where they are, yet they attach him to the seat and ride on. Pecan's injury drains red fluid, which may likewise draw in the burrowers. Yet, another peril shows up before the Voyagers, to man from the Utah clan. Pecan requests that his companion drop him and get his rifle so he can fire his adversaries. They pronounce, in any case, that they enjoy come together as one and the explorers are in no peril. In broken French, Fergus educates the outsiders concerning the missing white family that was hijacked by the burrowers. The Indians notice William's physical issue and let the Voyagers know that. They utilize the debilitated men as little fish for trap. Fergus' French information isn't all that great and he doesn't have the foggiest idea about what the men are talking about. Parcher rapidly comprehends what is happening and advises his confidants to shoot the Indians. They choose not to put their lives in extreme danger and let the Utah men take the withering William. Fergus finds a belt on the ground that the Indians have dropped. On it they fasten prize things having a place with the men they utilized as trap. He sees Marianne's pin on it and understands that his cherished is as of now dead. The injured Pecan needs to return home. Until further notice, their inquiry is unimportant. Fergus chooses to pursue Parcher and his captors. He should figure out how to obliterate the burrowers before they annihilate different families. Fergus follows the path through the forest, tuning in for dubious sounds. From behind the trees, one of the Indians jumps on him, yet the man discharges a shotgun at him. He hears Williams weeps for help and runs at his voice. The deadened hostage is attached to a tree in the forest. The grinding sounds around him clarify that the burrowers are close. The man educates his hero regarding the abnormal beverage the Indians constrained him to drink. As Fergus attempts to liberate William from the ropes, the man grabs a gun from his holster and unintentionally shoots him in the shoulder. His subsequent shot raises a ruckus around town and wounds the Indian behind. His friend, in torment, Fergus starts to step back and stirs things up around town with his foot. Whining in torment, he attempts to liberate himself from the shackles, yet the contraption holds his legs set up. Right now, the burrowers chase William down and encompass their go after all sides. The casualty shoots unpredictably in the air, attempting to fend off the beasts, however it is past the point of no return. A few hungry hunters jump on the man, gobbling up him piece by piece until his shots are totally quieted. One of the burrowers smells an injured Fergus and starts to slither toward him. The man slithers in reverse and nearly hit one more snare set with his hand. He tosses the snare at the beast, lastly liberates himself from the shackles. Another hunter continues in the strides of the injured. The Indian focuses his lance at Fergus and he penetrates the beast a few times. With it, glancing around, the Irishman sees that the other burrowers are lying unmoving on the ground. The finesse Indians have dosed the trap with a poison and harmed the beasts. Fergus takes the lances ready by the Indians and utilizations them to nail the other burrowers to the ground. Another burrower emerges from the beginning. Out of shock, Fergus falls in reverse and stalls his hand out in William's ribcage. He attempts to battle the hunter, however it is a lot more grounded than him and effectively breaks the lance. The man sees in the body of his dead companion the cross, doused with the resting drug from its guts. He cuts the beast with it, then, at that point, pushes his lance into it. Fergus wounds the burrowers over and over with his lance, yet they don't bite the dust from it. Totally depleted, he illuminates the depleted Indian that their arrangement has not worked. Exploiting the hunter's idleness, Fergus attempts to take William's body with him. Yet, his friend is damaged to such an extent that the man prevails with regards to taking just his leg. He sobs, mindful of the damnation he has had to deal with that evening. It is sunrise and Fergus hears the sad whining of the burrowers. The beasts consume in the daylight. The man understands that the Utah men's savage arrangement has succeeded. Fergus carries the Indian to Pecan and the young lady, who additionally figured out how to endure the evening. He educates his companion concerning what occurred during the evening and about the opiate with which William's body was sedated. The injured Indian should not be permitted to die, or the mysterious synthesis of the harmful beverage will go with him. Fergus goes to the closest settlement to get a specialist and passes on Pecan and the Indian to watch out for the injured man. On the way, he tracks down his cap, yet neglects to see Dobie covered in the ground close by. He at last arrives at the specialist and gets back with him to the camp. There he gets a sickening sight. Henry Victor's mounted force has arrived at the spot before him. The Indians have been executed and hanged. The official energetically welcomes his old associate and brags of his achievements. Having found William's body, Henry Victor's men were given the go, ahead to annihilate the Utah clan. They disposed of Pecan too, making up a misleading rendition that he passed on while removed an injured leg. Fergus leaves the camp in unadulterated despondency. He understands that Henry Victor's men will eradicate and drive all Indians from Dakota lands. The opportunity to find a remedy against the burrowers is lost and every one of the pioneers are in harm's way. So, what was your take of this film? Leave it in the remarks underneath. Assuming you partaking in the recap, kindly consider like and subscribing to Cinefilm Recap. Gratitude for observing.